Have you ever noticed how desperately we cling to the notion of control? It's quite fascinating, really. We have this peculiar idea that relationships, particularly between men and women, are some sort of game with rules to be mastered. 6 rules for earning respect. 10 ways to make him love you. As if the profound mystery of human connection could be reduced to a checklist or formula. What marvelous nonsense. I find it endlessly amusing how we've convinced ourselves that genuine respect and love are achievements, things to be earned through clever manipulation of behaviors and appearances. It's rather like trying to catch the wind in a butterfly net, isn't it? The very premise of our discussion today, that men deeply respect women who apply certain rules, contains within it a fundamental misunderstanding of what respect truly is. For if respect must be earned through the application of rules, is it respect at all, or merely compliance with expectations? Now, I'm not suggesting that there aren't patterns in how human beings relate to one another. There certainly are. But these aren't rules to be followed. They're more like ripples in a pond, manifestations of deeper currents. You see, the relationship between man and woman isn't something separate from the universe. It is the universe expressing itself through the magnificent dance of the masculine and feminine principle. These principles flow through everything. They're in the rhythm of the tides, the dance of electrons, the interplay of mountains and valleys. We are not apart from this dance. We are the dance. When we try to reduce this cosmic ballet to rules, we're rather like children trying to capture the ocean in a paper cup. Charming, but ultimately missing the point entirely. So instead of rules, let's explore something far more interesting. The natural principles that emerge when we stop trying so hard to be respected and simply allow ourselves to be fully present in our own existence. For in the end, what men truly respect in women isn't their adherence to arbitrary rules, but their authentic embodiment of life itself. The first thing we might notice is that respect isn't something that can be demanded or extracted. It arises naturally in the presence of something genuine. Like water flowing downhill, respect follows the contours of what is real. So our first principle isn't a rule at all, but a recognition. Authenticity precedes respect. Consider how we're constantly told to disguise ourselves, to be strategic in our presentations, to hide our true feelings and thoughts for fear they might drive others away. Don't appear too eager. Never show your full hand. What extraordinary advice, as if the path to genuine connection could be found through deliberate misrepresentation of who we are. The irony, of course, is that nothing commands respect quite like a person who has abandoned the exhausting game of pretense. There's a remarkable power in someone who simply is what they are, not defiantly, not as a statement, but as naturally as a tree is a tree or a mountain is a mountain. And this leads us to our second principle, the willingness to be vulnerable. Now, this word vulnerable has been so overused in recent years that it's nearly lost its meaning. But I'm speaking of something much deeper than sharing your feelings at a dinner party. I'm talking about the courage to stand fully exposed to life without the armor of pretense or the shield of carefully constructed appearances. When a woman allows herself to be genuinely seen with all her paradoxes, complexities, strengths, and uncertainties, something quite remarkable happens. She becomes, in that moment, a perfect expression of the universe contemplating itself. And in the presence of such authenticity, respect isn't commanded, it's inevitable. There's a Zen story about a master who was asked by his disciple, "What is the secret of your serenity?" The master replied, "When I eat, I eat. When I walk, I walk. When I sleep, I sleep." The disciple was perplexed and said, "But that's what everyone does." The master smiled and said, "No. When most people eat, they're thinking about walking. When they walk, they're thinking about sleeping. And when they sleep, they're already eating breakfast." This brings us to our third principle, presence. The extraordinary power of a woman who is fully present in each moment, not divided against herself, not constantly comparing the now to some imagined future or remembered past, is undeniable. In the company of such presence, men instinctively respond with respect, because they recognize, even if unconsciously, that they're in the presence of life itself, undiluted and unafraid. Now, there's a curious paradox here, because these principles I'm describing aren't techniques to be applied. They're not strategies for earning respect. They're descriptions of what naturally emerges when we stop trying to earn anything at all. They're what's left when we abandon the very notion that respect from others is something we need to pursue or deserve or achieve. This leads to our fourth principle, the release of attachment to outcomes. There's an ancient Taoist concept called Wu Wei, often translated as non-doing or effortless action. It doesn't mean doing nothing, it means allowing your actions to emerge from your nature like a river flowing to the sea. Not forced, not strained, not calculated for effect. When a woman embodies this principle in her relationships with men, something quite extraordinary happens. She becomes like water, infinitely adaptable, yet ultimately unstoppable. Not because she's attempting to control or manipulate, but precisely because she's abandoned all such attempts. And paradoxically, this very release of the need to control often results in a natural authority that commands profound respect. Think of how we respond to the ocean. We don't respect it because it follows rules or because it tries to impress us. We respect it because it simply is what it is, sometimes calm, sometimes fierce, always itself. It doesn't ask permission or apologize for its nature. It doesn't try to be anything other than exactly what it is in each moment. This brings us to our fifth principle, embracing contradiction. The universe isn't consistent, you see. It's wild and paradoxical. It's particles and waves, order and chaos, creation and destruction all at once. And we, as expressions of this universe, are equally contradictory. The woman who can embrace her own contradictions, who can be both strong and vulnerable, both wise and foolish, both certain and questioning, embodies the full spectrum of existence. She isn't limited by the narrow definitions of femininity that society might impose. She contains multitudes, as Walt Whitman might say. And there's something profoundly compelling about a person who refuses to be reduced to a single dimension. Men respect women who embody this principle not because they're trying to earn respect, but because they're complete expressions of life itself, with all its glorious contradictions. Our final principle is perhaps the most subtle, the recognition that there is no separate self to which respect can be given or from which it can be withheld. This may sound abstract, but it's actually the most practical principle of all. You see, the very notion that I need to earn the respect of you is based on a fundamental misunderstanding. It assumes that we are separate entities, isolated islands of consciousness bumping up against each other in a cold, indifferent universe. But this isn't the case at all. The relationship between a man and a woman isn't a transaction between separate entities. It's more like two waves in the same ocean, temporarily taking different forms, but made of the same substance. When we truly understand this, the whole concept of earning respect becomes as absurd as your left hand trying to earn the respect of your right. The woman who intuitively understands this principle doesn't seek respect as something to be acquired from outside herself. She recognizes that respect, like love, isn't something that passes between separate individuals. It's the recognition of our shared nature, our fundamental non-separation. It's what happens when the illusion of separateness momentarily dissolves, and we glimpse the underlying unity from which both masculine and feminine emerge. So these are our 6 principles, though I hesitate to even call them that, since they're not techniques to be applied, but recognitions to be lived. Authenticity, vulnerability, presence, non-attachment, embracing contradiction, and the recognition of non-separation. Not rules to follow, but descriptions of what naturally emerges when we stop following rules altogether. Now, you might be wondering, if these principles can't be deliberately applied, what use is discussing them at all? Why not just say, be yourself, and leave it at that? The answer, I think, is that we've been so thoroughly conditioned to see ourselves as incomplete, as projects to be improved, as problems to be solved, that a simple instruction to be yourself is likely to be misinterpreted. We'll immediately start trying to figure out who our true self is and how we can better embody it, thereby missing the point entirely. These principles aren't about becoming something you're not. They're reminders of what you already are, beneath the layers of conditioning and social expectation. They're invitations to stop the exhausting work of trying to earn respect through strategic behavior, and to discover the natural respect that arises when you simply allow yourself to be. And here's the wonderful secret. When a woman embodies these principles not as techniques, but as expressions of her authentic nature, the respect she receives from men isn't conditional. It isn't dependent on her maintaining certain behaviors or meeting certain expectations. It's a natural response to the presence of someone who is fully alive, fully herself, fully engaged with existence. This kind of respect isn't the wary admiration that one might give to someone who has mastered the rules of a game. It's more like the spontaneous awe that arises when we stand before a magnificent sunset or a vast ocean. It doesn't need to be earned or maintained. It simply is. So perhaps we should reframe our title. Not men deeply respect women who apply these 6 rules, but rather men naturally respect women who have abandoned rules altogether. Not women who are trying to be respected, but women who have released the very need for respect, and in doing so, have become utterly respectable. Because in the end, what men truly respect in women, and what women truly respect in men, isn't adherence to some external standard of behavior. It's the courage to be fully alive, fully present, fully engaged with the magnificent dance of existence. Not following the steps of a predetermined dance, but improvising in perfect harmony with the music of the cosmos. And isn't that much more interesting than rules? If you've enjoyed this exploration, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and join me for more conversations about the art of living. Leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts on authentic relationships beyond rules and games. What has been your experience with letting go of the need to earn respect? Until next time, remember that you are not a separate fragment in an alien universe. You are the universe experiencing itself as a human being, and that is worthy of the deepest respect